Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this webinar, English Exams Preparation and Certification from Speak Your Mind. My name's Jeremy Sadler, and I've been teaching at Speak Your Mind for more than 12 years now. In case you haven't met Speak Your Mind before today, Speak Your Mind is an English language school based in the centre of Verona. And we're different from most other schools because we are the speaking specialists. We've been teaching people to speak English using the Speak Your Mind method for more than 35 years. And in those 35 years, we've amassed a huge amount of experience preparing students for all the major exams, and we've helped thousands of people in that time. So we know all about exams and we know all about different people's needs. Now, let me give you an idea of what to expect from today's presentation. First, we'll look at the options you have when you need to take an exam if you want to certify your level of English proficiency. Then we'll compare these exams. We'll look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of these choices to help you make the best decision. And then I'll explain the advantages of doing your exam preparation with Speak Your Mind. At the end of the talk, there should be time to answer any questions that you have. Now, today's webinar will be presented in English, as you can probably tell, but the webinar is being recorded and a link to the video recording on YouTube with subtitles included will be made available after today's event has finished. If you have any questions during the webinar, please write them in the chat. You can write them in English or in Italian if you want. My colleague Tobias is already in there and he will highlight them for me or answer any questions that you might have there in the chat. At the end of the webinar today, should there be enough time, I'll be able to look through those questions and will try to answer some of them myself. Okay, let's talk about your options. Now, there are a lot of exams. New ones appear every year, so things can be confusing, I know. I'm here to guide you today. Because Speak Your Mind has been doing English language exam preparation for so long, we know exactly what candidates need to do to get the result that they need. We know what kind of preparation works, and we know which kind of certification is suitable. Probably the first thing to say is that if you're taking certification for entry into a specific institution, maybe to study abroad or to follow a master's program, for example, it's very important to check which certification this place will accept. Some universities, for example, ask for specific results in specific tests, and other places can be a lot more flexible. So always check. At Speak Your Mind, we've prepared people for the full range of English language tests, and until recently, the traditional two have been IELTS and Cambridge. IELTS is developed and organised by the British Council and Cambridge Assessment, and it's been the big one for university admission for around 40 years. IELTS is a multi-level exam, which means it gives you a score that corresponds to the levels from B1 up to C2, and it's available in two versions, academic and general. Most people need to prepare for the academic exam. Here's an interesting fact about IELTS. It's estimated that only 50% of people taking IELTS for the first time actually achieve the result they need. Now, you might recognize Cambridge from the exams that you did at school. They have exams at each level, from A2 up to C2. They're the oldest English exams, and they have a very long tradition. Interestingly, the most widely used of all the Cambridge exams internationally is B2 First for schools. So, Cambridge exams are largely perceived as school exams rather than exams for the workplace, for example. Cambridge exams are also mainly Europe based. There's not so much demand or recognition outside Europe. When taking Cambridge, most of our candidates normally prepare for either the B2 first or for the advanced C1 exam. Now, if you're studying at university, then of course there is one other option for certifying your English competence with your University Language Centre, or the CLA. There's minimal cost involved, if any, in taking CLA tests, but unfortunately they have very little real value or any recognition beyond graduation. If you have the option, we strongly recommend doing a recognized exam instead, which will be something of real value that you can carry with you into either further education or the start of your career. We're not going to talk much about the CLA tests today, although I will say they're often quite difficult to pass. They're usually unnecessarily complicated to understand, certainly in comparison to some other options that we'll talk about today, and you're limited to taking the exams on the dates that are scheduled by the CLA. Now, after many years preparing people for IELTS and Cambridge and other tests, we understood there was the need for a valid alternative to the traditional tests. What was wrong? Well, with both IELTS and Cambridge, we understood that students had to spend a lot of time learning how to do the exam, instead of spending that time more usefully by improving their English. And much of what you learn when you prepare for an exam are things that you'll probably never need again in real life. Over the years, we had seen people who had excellent spoken English, but they didn't pass the exam. And we saw other people who had very low communicative competence, but they'd studied all the strategies, all the techniques. They memorized the rules and words and phrases that they needed to help them pass the exam. And this result that they got was a paper result. They'd never be able to get through a job interview in English. So think about it this way. Would you want to do another English course after getting your certification just because you still can't speak? Hmm? So we understood there was the need for an exam that was more realistic, more inclusive, something that recognized real communicative skills and didn't penalize people whose English is very good, but they just aren't very good at exams. So we were looking for an exam that would be more accessible and more realistic. When Language Cert began to gain status, we had a good look and we were impressed. The content is practical, real life English, and the format and style are very user friendly. Language Cert ESOL exams are currently our most popular choice at Speak Your Mind, particularly for those who need certification at B1, B2, or C1 level. Language Cert ESOL exams are a realistic alternative to other tests, and they're growing rapidly in popularity because they haven't stuck with tradition. Speak Your Mind has been a Language Cert online exam partner since January 2021 and an official Language Cert Test Centre since January 2024. Okay, let's make some comparisons between the options you have, looking at the key differences. I think it's worth saying at this point that we've noticed there's still quite a lot of confusion around what levels of English proficiency actually mean. So if you're not sure what exactly a B1 or a B2 is, or how much study might be involved, or how much ability with the language might be necessary, then contact us directly and we can talk you through it. One of our webinars in the near future we'll also cover this area in a bit more detail. Anyway, here I'm going to compare the options for someone who needs a B2 level of certification. So we're considering IELTS, the Cambridge First B2, and the Language Cert IESOL B2 Communicator exams. Let's look at the formats first. In IELTS, every candidate takes the same two tests. A written exam, including listening, reading and writing components, and a separate spoken exam. It's scored on a scale from 0 to 9 in each skill, plus there's a total score from 0 to 9. Candidates taking IELTS typically score between 5 and 9, which corresponds to between B1 and C2 on the Common European Framework of Reference. Universities asking for IELTS often ask for a minimum total score plus a minimum score in each of the four components. For example, they'll ask for 6.5 overall with a minimum of 5.5 in each skill. Both IELTS tests, the written and the spoken tests, are normally taken on the same day in a test centre. The written test is either paper-based or, nowadays more commonly, a computer-based exam. The spoken test is normally taken in person with an examiner, though it's now possible to do the test online via a test centre computer. IELTS Academic recently also became available as an entirely online test. Now, Cambridge, with each exam, it's divided into four separate parts: reading and use of English, writing, listening, and speaking. B2 First is also scored on a scale. It's possible to get a B1 result if your score is too low for B2, and a very high score could achieve you a C1 result. Cambridge written exams are again either paper-based or computer-based, and they're taken in a test centre. The spoken component of the exam is taken in person with two examiners and at least another candidate in the room with you. Now, with Language Cert, there are two separate exams at each level: a written exam, including listening, reading and writing, and a spoken exam. And the result of a successful exam is either a B2 pass or a B2 high pass. Each exam can be taken online and separately. So, if you like, you can choose to do the written exam and the spoken exam on completely different days from each other. And you do them on dates and times that suit you. They can also be taken in a test centre, either on paper or on a computer, if that's what you prefer. Now, probably the first thing you actually want to know is how much do these exams cost? You can see here, there isn't much of a difference. The overall cost of taking the exams is more or less the same. Remember, university students who take either IELTS or Cambridge can often obtain a discount through their university. And if you book Language Cert exams through Speak Your Mind, we can offer you a small discount. The next thing to compare is how long the exams can be. Again, you can see they're all quite similar. Cambridge comes out as the longest. It's more than 3 hours for the combined parts of the written test. And you can see Language Cert is a little shorter than the others. Now let's look at the amount of time it takes for your results to arrive. Here there isn't a lot of difference if you take the traditional tests on a computer. But if you take IELTS or Cambridge as a paper test, the wait would be a lot longer. So there aren't many important differences between the tests so far. Here's the first big difference. You have to take Cambridge exams in a test centre, which means you have to stick to their scheduled dates, you have to travel to the centre, you have to take the exam in an unfamiliar and potentially formal, uncomfortable environment, which is inconvenient and distracting. Up until recently, IELTS was exactly the same, although now you can take IELTS Academic online. This was introduced in 2024. With IELTS and Cambridge, both the written and spoken parts of the exam are usually taken on the same day, often with a long wait in between. You can do your written test at 9:30 in the morning, but you have to wait until 4 in the afternoon to do the spoken exam. Language Cert ESOL exams are taken online, meaning you can take them in a comfortable, familiar environment without having to travel to a test centre. And the tests are available to book all day, every day, 365 days a year. So you can do each exam at a time that suits you and on separate days if you like. Before, we mentioned how the CLA tests aren't recognised or valid beyond the university where they've been taken. So it's important to say that obviously IELTS and Cambridge exams are universally recognised and they're valid certification. But Language Cert is also now widely accepted and it's growing in reach. Again, if you need certification to meet a specific requirement, it's very important to check with your target institution which certification they will accept and under which circumstances. Universities usually publish a list of which exams they accept and which specific scores are required. When we look at the exams themselves, the content of the tests and the amount of preparation that's required, we begin to see some clear differences between the two traditional tests, IELTS and Cambridge, and the Language Cert ESOL exams. These are differences that we thought were important when we decided to partner with Language Cert and prepare candidates for their exams. Now, traditional tests are deliberately quite complex. They don't just test your English, you need very good logic skills too. The format could be complicated and time very limited. If you fall into traps or have difficulty with the format or time, if you're just not that good at taking exams, then you may lose marks and not get the result that your language level deserves. So, in your preparation, you have to spend more time on improving your awareness of traps, techniques, and strategies, and less time focusing on practicing and enhancing your language skills. This applies to IELTS and Cambridge, which are particularly complex in format, but also to other tests like TOEFL and TOEIC, as well as the CLA tests, which we mentioned earlier. Language Cert ESOL doesn't put any of these obstacles in your way. It follows a clear, simple format. There are time limits, but they don't put you under any unnecessary pressure. So preparation time can be shorter and you can focus much more on language skills and practice. Typically, at Speak Your Mind, we know that preparation for the traditional two tests takes between 18 and 36 hours. For Language Cert, our standard preparation course is only 6 hours. And that's a big advantage. You save time, you save energy, and you save money. Now, the spoken exam in traditional tests can be quite unnatural, and it's not very comfortable. You probably had to travel to the test centre. Then you're in a formal environment with an examiner who is talking to you, but he's also assessing your English. There might be another examiner in the room observing, and perhaps other candidates taking the tests with you that you need to interact with. This can all be quite distracting and uncomfortable, and if you're uncomfortable, you won't perform at your best. Language Cert ESOL spoken exams are less stressful. You take the exam online via a secure platform, so you're already in a more comfortable and a familiar environment. The interlocutor that you speak with is serious but friendly. Their job is to manage the test and to help you through it, not to judge you or your use of English. The exam is recorded for an examiner to assess it afterwards. A friendly face puts you at your ease, meaning you can relax and focus on performing at your best. Now, this takes us back to when I spoke about looking for an alternative to traditional tests, one that recognizes that you can speak and understand natural communicative English. You understand the English that's around us every day. Traditional exams often focus on very specific language that it's expected at the level of the test, which makes it more of a memory test and it makes it less natural. The formal academic language being tested might not necessarily be the language you know. It might not be the language you use every day, despite you being at the right level. An example of this could be the use of English questions in Cambridge tests, or maybe the kind of analytical formal language that's required in the IELTS writing test. Language Cert ESOL exams include all the language necessary to understand and communicate at the level of the test, including all the real-world language and situations that make it less artificial. All the language you know and use counts towards the test. There are some differences in formality and register, the different kinds of English that you need to be able to use in different situations, of course, but these situations are much more relevant to everyday life skills. So now we've looked at your options for certification, I'd like to emphasize the advantages of the online exams offered by Language Cert. And there's one big advantage at the end. We need to know what makes them different. What makes these exams a fantastic choice for certification? And why do we recommend taking an online exam with Language Cert? Well, Language Cert exams are fast. Your preparation can be short, quick, and efficient. You can book your exam in the very near future, even on the same day, and your exam result arrives within 3 or 4 working days. Language Cert exams are flexible. You decide the dates and times you want to take your exam. You decide the location to suit you. Language Cert exams are friendly. The ESOL tests are conducted by real people, an online proctor for the written exams, an interlocutor for the spoken exams. And it's important to say again, neither of these two people is an examiner. It's a friendly voice who's there to guide you through the test and make sure you feel comfortable and supported. Language Cert exams are secure. The tests are online, which makes them convenient and accessible, but they're also supported by industry-leading security measures, strict security protocols throughout the examination. This ensures that the tests are fair and they deliver genuine results that can be trusted. So because they're secure and well designed, they're valid and recognized by a growing number of important institutions. They're recognized by the Ministero dell'Istruzione del Merito, the MIM in Italy. They're recognized in over 90 countries around the world, including all the leading universities, and they're recognized by UK immigration as a secure English language test, or CELT. Language Cert exams focus on real-world language and communicative skills. The emphasis is on the language you need in typical everyday situations. Above all, Language Cert exams are simple. The format is simple, meaning you can focus less on exam skills and more on doing well in your test. Preparation for the exam is simple. This means we can focus on the specific areas of language you need to improve and develop and practice, and we can do this quickly and efficiently. The booking and the results processes are simple, meaning it takes less time and energy to get your test booked and to get the results that you need. And now here's the big advantage that I mentioned earlier. Take two. If you take an online exam, you have the option to purchase Take Two, which is a straightforward and affordable solution to retake the exam if you fail the first time. Take Two can be purchased through Speak Your Mind and is available up to 15 minutes before your exam start time. If you fail your exam, the option is automatically enabled and you'll receive an email containing a new voucher to take your exam again. Take Two provides you with the flexibility to take your exam again only when you feel ready, which can be up to 6 months after the initial online exam, still with the same flexibility of date, time and location. And 6 months is a good long time to do more English lessons, more exam preparation, and boost your confidence and chances of passing. Speaking of preparation, let's have a look at that. Why should you choose to do your exam preparation with Speak Your Mind? Well, first, Speak Your Mind are the speaking specialists, which means our speaking-based approach and our experienced teachers can very effectively prepare candidates for spoken tests, which can be a very difficult part of the exam to prepare for with only self-study or unguided practice. At Speak Your Mind, we help our students speak without fear of making mistakes. We help you express your ideas more fluently and easily. We help you learn, use, and understand new language in a warm and friendly environment. Speak Your Mind lessons are a safe space where mistakes can happen, but communication of ideas is encouraged. So we're perfectly placed to prepare you for the communicative, friendly Language Cert spoken test, which, as we said earlier, is a very similar experience. Now, another reason you should choose Speak Your Mind is that we're the experts. Before you start your preparation, we precisely identify your English level with both a spoken assessment and a written assessment. We understand just how closely your starting level matches to the specific requirements of the exam, meaning we know exactly how much preparation will be needed and in which specific skills in order for you to be ready to take the test. Our Language Cert preparation courses are fast and focused. It's perfect if you have very little time in which you need to get your certification. Remember, Language Cert gives you your results in very little time. So short preparation plus short results means a very happy test taker. Another reason you should choose us is because of the support that we offer. We provide the complete package. Our excellent administration team provides constant support throughout the initial level assessment, through the exam preparation course, when you need to book your test, and the exam taking process. We're here to help you through the complete journey so you feel comfortable and you feel capable of getting the positive result that you deserve and when you need it. And remember, when you book your Language Cert exam through Speak Your Mind, you get a discount on the standard price. Now, possibly the best reason to choose us is that you get results. The results of our candidates speak for themselves. We've got many satisfied customers over the years. Of the students that have taken a Language Cert exam through Speak Your Mind, we have a 98% success rate, with many people exceeding their expectations and delighted with the service, the preparation, and most importantly, the result that they've achieved. And that level of impact goes for our preparation courses for both IELTS and Cambridge as well, where we helped people gain the knowledge and confidence, above all in speaking, to achieve the very best result that they could. So, in conclusion, if you need to take IELTS or you need to take a Cambridge exam, then Speak Your Mind is a fantastic choice for your preparation. But if you have the option to take Language Cert, then the numerous combined advantages of Speak Your Mind preparation and the Language Cert exam make this your number one choice. Okay, I've done a lot of talking today. We now have time to address some of your questions. Let me just take a look at the chat, see if we have any activity in there. There's a couple of things that have come through. Let me just see what we can find here. Oh yes, Tobias has highlighted something for me. I think I understand it. I think someone's asking how much take two costs. Yeah. Which is a good question because I did mention it was affordable before. On top of the cost of taking the language cert test, take two, I think the last time I checked, cost 22 euros per test, which means that you get insurance in case you fail the test, that you can take it again just for an extra cost of 22 euros, which is a fantastic deal. Yes, so that's something to check, but it's certainly a good idea to follow up on that. Yeah. Let's see here. Is it better to take an exam in a test center or online? Oh, that's a good question. Well, if you like the convenience of doing something online, if you like to be at home in your pajamas, I don't recommend taking a test in your pajamas, but if you feel relaxed at home and you have a good internet connection, you're comfortable on a computer, then the online test is a fantastic choice. Some people like to go to a test center. They like to go into a serious place and sit down at a table with a computer with people with other computers around them, and they feel more like they're in exam mode when they go to those places. So it's really up to you. But yeah, I think doing a test online is a huge advantage personally. Yeah. Will my university accept language cert? Good question. Like I said before, you always need to check if any of these exams are accepted before you take any of them. Before you even decide to follow the preparation for anything, always check what kind of certification you need. Maybe you can do IELTS, maybe you can do a Cambridge test, maybe you can do language cert, but it might be when you check if you want to do a master's in Utrecht, they ask for TOEFL, and that's the only thing they accept, and you have to do preparation for that instead. Like we said at the beginning, there are lots of different possibilities. If you have a choice, pick one of the ones that's best for you. But if you don't have a choice, then you don't have a choice. Okay, my friends, I think we're out of time. I think that takes us through everything else. There's a couple of other things here in the chat, but sorry if I didn't get to your questions. So all that remains is for me to say thank you very much for coming. Very nice to see you all today. If you happen to be in Verona, we're in Vicolo dietro Sant'Andrea in the center of town, not far from the arena. If you want to come in and see us, we're always happy to see you. We're open from Monday to Friday. The phone number is there, but you can also use this number to send us a message to our business account via WhatsApp if you have any more questions. And you can contact us via email, of course. Our internet address, our website there, speakyourmindenglish.com, contains a lot more information about preparation, certification, and all the other Speak Your Mind courses. And of course, we're available on social media. Speak Your Mind Italia on Facebook, and on Instagram, we're at Speak Your Mind School. Thanks very much for attending again, and we hope to see you soon and look forward to helping you get the result that you need. Thanks a lot. Bye bye now.